friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be showing you all of Ab's new Fantasy Volume 2 collection. Now I know it is still October and it's really early to be sharing winter releases, but I do appreciate when brands release them ahead of time. And as you can see, this collection is only 4 polishes, which I thought was really interesting, but I will save more of my thoughts for the end. For now, let's just get into the swatches. The first shade we have is Glamour, described as a blue with a pink shimmer. So I think I would call this a true medium denim blue. I feel like it has a little bit of this dusty kind of color to it. And this has an incredibly pigmented formula that I would say leans ever so slightly on the crelly side. Like, even though it looks really great coverage here on the first coat, I feel like you might be able to see some bald spots, especially if you prefer doing thinner coats than I do. But either way, I think this is a solid 2-coater. It's a really pretty moody blue, but the shimmer is definitely on the subtle side. Next up we have Willow, which is a muted turquoise cream. So this one definitely has a more creamy and opaque feeling formula. So again, I got really beautiful coverage on the first coat alone, to the point that I might even call this a 1-coater. But as always, that can depend on your nail length, your application style, and just your preference. I still would say this had the best formula from the collection, and the color is really beautiful. It's just such a nice wintry teal. The next polish is Titania, which is described as a rich purple cream. This one had another incredible full coverage formula. It just looked so flawless on the first coat. I think I did have a little bit of a bald spot near the edge of my nail, and I think because this one is so much darker than Willow, it could be a 1-coater if you are careful with your application. And speaking of the color, I feel like it's picking up a bit brighter on camera, like this really saturated but dark jewel tone, but I think in real life it's a little bit more muted. And rounding out the collection is Night Court, described as a sparkly gray metallic. But as you'll see, this isn't the same as other metallics from Olive Ab, which are nearly 1-coaters. I would almost describe this more like a shimmer kind of formula. And even though it had a thinner, more sheer kind of base, where it was pretty sheer on the first coat, you can see a decent amount of nail line, it was still really packed with those shimmers, and I just really liked how this one built up on 2 coats, where I would call it opaque enough for me. I feel like if you're really looking closely, you can see a hint of nail line. So if you want like 100% full coverage, you might need a 3rd coat for this one. I thought the color was cool though. And here is the collection worn as a skittle in 2 coats in natural lighting. Unfortunately, I didn't have direct sunlight for these clips, but I feel like this overcast kind of lighting is perfect for the winter season anyway. So even outside of direct sunlight, I feel like these are really bright and saturated, but with like a little hint of dustiness. And I guess going back to Night Court, you can see it on my pinky, which is obviously my smallest nail, but there still is a little hint of nail line. So again, I would call this a 2 to 3-coater depending on your preference. Now getting into comparisons, we're obviously going to be comparing Glamour next to Raindrop, since that's what I immediately thought of with this dusty blue base, but Raindrop has this micro hollow glitter instead of a pink shimmer. And even though the bases look really similar, they actually aren't dupes. Raindrop is ever so slightly more teal leaning. Then for Willow, I wanted to quickly show it next to Aster, which is more of a pastel mint. I don't know why I thought these were similar. I think the closer shade, if anything, is Ironic, which was from a summer collection a couple of years ago. And while these might look really similar in the bottle, they are definitely far from dupes. I would say they are in the same family though. Like, Willow is a wintry version of Ironic, but definitely different enough that you could justify having both. So since Willow was so much darker, I thought it might be closer to something like OPI's My Dogsled is a Hybrid, but that one's actually way darker. Next for Titania, I immediately thought of Gratitude, which was the deep purple from last winter, but that one's a lot darker, but it is close in terms of being a blue toned purple. I did also want to show this next to Pisces, which is a red toned purple obviously, but I feel like these two are just a little bit closer in value. I don't know why I thought that it might be closer to Cirque's Guilty Pleasure, specifically my older bottle, which was darker, but you can see it is just not dark enough. I feel like the closest purple that I had to this one though was Mooncat's Midnight Drive, but that one is actually a lot more vibrant, so it's really not close at all. You can definitely see the difference here on the nail, and it just surprised me how unique Titania was to my collection because I could have sworn I had something closer. And lastly, for Night Court, the shimmer reminded me of OPI's Cave the Way since it has this blue silvery color, but OPI's is in a black base, so to stick with closer metallic grays, I wanted to show this next to Mooncat's Outlaw Country, which is like a true gray metallic. So it's obviously lacking that blue, so I thought to get that blue silver kind of look, I can show this next to ILNP's Moondust from their Cosmos collection. But that one actually shifts to blue in extreme angles, so head on, I feel like it almost has a bit of a warmer undertone. So once you see them all on the nail, they just do not compare at all. I think at least visually, Night Court looks more similar to Outlaw Country, where it's almost like a shimmery metallic, but Outlaw Country has a more opaque formula like a true metallic. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons for Olive Ab's Fantasy Volume 2 collection. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think of this release because I generally like them, but I don't know if I'm in love with them. It's kind of hard to figure out where exactly I stand because I know for sure these aren't standing out to me because, as you know, I'm a huge seasonal wearer and I am just not anywhere near in a wintry mood. So it just feels so out of place for me to be like reviewing these colors and wearing them. So I do feel like there is a part of me that if I had reviewed this collection maybe closer to the end of November, early December, I would probably be a lot more excited for it. And I really hope that doesn't come across as like disingenuous, but if anything, I feel like that just goes to show like how much of a seasonal wearer I really am, because these are not bad colors by any means, but I'm just not really feeling them right now. But even color palette wise, I'm still a little undecided. I know it's something that a lot of us have been feeling for a long time now, that a lot of Olive Ab shades almost have this very familiar feeling to them because Walker just usually tends to release colors that she already has in her collection. And I kind of did get the same vibe from this quad. I mean, this being the part 2 of the fantasy collection, with part 1 that was released for fall, I was like a lot more excited for those because I feel like they were just such a breath of fresh air, especially for her catalog specifically. And so I was really looking forward to part 2. And you know, these colors again are nice. They're giving winter jewel tones, moody but still colorful in a way. But at the same time, I'm just not super excited about them. And I don't know what it is exactly because obviously when you saw the comparison portion, the only one that was like close to being a dupe was Glamour next to Raindrop. And you guys know Raindrop is one of my top favorite Olive Ab polishes. So I'm kind of surprised at how much I just didn't really love Glamour. I think it's just that shimmer formula specifically, that it's just a lot more on the subtle side. The shimmers that I like from Olive Ab are definitely the stronger ones. I feel like the standout to me for this collection is Willow, just because it's such a beautiful shade and I would never have thought to wear like a teal like this for winter. And I do appreciate that this is like a wintry teal where it's a little bit deeper, muted, but not too dark. So it does feel a bit unique to my collection, and I just wish I got more of that feeling out of the other 3 shades. But they are still good polishes, and again, I feel like I will enjoy them a little bit more as we get closer to like the actual winter season. But I'd love to know what you think of these and if you'll be picking them up. These are actually going to be launching on Sunday, October 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. As a reminder, I am an affiliate with Olive Ab, so if you do want to support me and my channel, you can shop through my link in my description box, or you can use my discount code to save 10% off your purchase. As always, a big thank you to all of you who do support me through that. But even if you don't pick these up, I would love to know your thoughts down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!